January 10. 1640. Maurice Abbot, a distinguished London merchant, died. He acquired great consequence by his own efforts in commercial affairs, and was employed in 1624 inches, establishing the settlement of Virginia. At the time of his death he was mayor of London. 1645. William Laud, Archbishop of Canterbury, beheaded on Tower Hill, aged 70. Sentenced to be hung for political misdemeanors, he was pardoned by the king. But Parliament overruled the pardon, and substituted the privilege of being beheaded instead of hanging. He acquired so great an ascendency over Charles as to lead him, by the facility of his temper, into a conduct which proved fatal to that prince, and by which he lost his kingdom, and met the same fate 4 years after at Whitehall. 1661. A proclamation issued by the King of England prohibiting conventicles for religious meetings. 1661. The Fifth Monarchy men, headed by Venner, a wine cooper, arose to proclaim King Jesus against all the powers of the earth. But King Charles's power was found too strong for them. 1754. Edward Cayce died, an English printer and founder of the Gentleman's Magazine. When his indentures expired as a printer's apprentice, he was employed in the post office, and occupied his leisure in writing for the newspapers. In 1731 was first published the magazine, and it has continued to this day, more than a century. Amid the crowd of magazines which have perished around it, and is one of the most successful and lucrative periodicals that history has upon record. 1756. François, Marquis de Beauharnois, died at Paris. He was a member of the National Assembly, and took part in the king's favor. Subsequently joined the army under Conde, and was banished by Napoleon in 1807. The heroic wife of La Villette was his daughter. 1757. The British under Admiral Watson took by assault Hoffley, situated about 30 miles above Calcutta. 1761. Edward Boscawen, the English admiral, died. He was born 1711, and entered the Navy at an early age. He acquired honorable distinction under Vernon, and afterwards signalized himself in many important contests with the French, in which he had the singular fortune to take the French commander, M. Houquet, a prisoner 3 times, viz. in 1744, 1747 and 1755. On his return to England in 1759, after destroying the Toulon fleet in the Mediterranean, he was rewarded with a pension of £3,000 a year. 1763. Caspar Abel, a voluminous German historian and antiquary, died. 1765. Stamp Act passed the British Parliament. How little did that body anticipate the consequences that were to follow their decision on that subject. 1776. The New Hampshire Convention dissolved itself and assumed legislative powers, chose 12 councillors as an executive branch, and delegates to Congress, which were recognized. 1782. George Costar died, a classical, mathematical and oriental scholar, whose reputation as an author is chiefly derived from a history of astronomy, highly appreciated in Europe. 1791. Vermont, the last of the 13 original states which composed the Union, adopted the Constitution and took her place in the Confederacy. 1795. The French frigate Iphigenie, 32 guns, captured by the Spanish fleet off Catalonia. 1797. French sloop Atalante, 16 guns, captured off Scilly by the British frigate 36 guns. Captain Barlow. 1800. The first suit establishment for the poor was opened at Spitalfields, London. 1806. The Dutch surrendered the Cape of Good Hope to the British. 1808. Phillips Cosby, British Admiral of the Red, died aged 78. 1809. Samana taken by the British, together with 2 privateers, and 4 vessels laden with coffee. 1812. London involved for several hours in impenetrable darkness. The sky, where any light pervaded it, showed the aspect of bronze. It was the effect of a cloud of smoke, which, from the peculiar state of the atmosphere, did not pass off. Were it not for the peculiar mobility of the atmosphere, the city of 100,000 chimneys would be scarcely habitable in winter. 1815. The British under Jean Lambert, having abandoned the enterprise on New Orleans, began to re-embark their artillery and munitions, preparatory to a general retreat. 1816. The schooner Eliza cast away near Newport. The captain and crew saved by Com. Perry, who with part of the crew of the frigate Java, went 5 miles in a boat to their relief. 1824. Thomas Edward Bowditch, the African traveler, died. He went to Africa at the age of 21, and engaged in a series of expeditions into the country. In 1822, he went out from England with a view of devoting himself to the exploration of the African continent. He had only arrived at the mouth of the Gambia when a disease, occasioned by fatigue and anxiety of mind, put an end to his existence. 1833. Adrien Marie Legendre, so well known as a profound mathematician, died at Paris. His life work on geometry is much used. 1840. The uniform penny postage commenced in England, the number of letters dispatched from London on this day being 112,000, the average, for January, 1839, being 30,000. 1840. Battle between the Russian and Kievan cavalry. The latter, commanded by the Count in person, were completely routed and pursued to the city of Kiev. 1848. Miss Caroline Herschel, member of the Royal Astronomical Society, London, died at Hanover. 1855. Mary Russell Mitford died, aged 68. A distinguished English authoress. 1856. Thomas H. Perkins, a wealthy and liberal Boston merchant, died aged 89. His was the first American firm engaged in the China trade.